Hello, hello, hello. My name is Philip Trickey. Welcome to the Weekly Trivia Show here at Crowdpurr.com. I'm coming to you live from the beautiful headquarters of Crowdpurr in Dayton, Ohio. Hope everybody's had a wonderful week. I didn't get to see the Oscars last night. Did anything happen? Any sort of things to talk about? Hopefully there's some information about it online. Maybe I can read something about it. Also this week, I finally got to fulfill my 3-week-long dream of going foaling with some friends. And it seems that when you are foaling, 90% of the gameplay is just making sure that you don't get hit by errant footballs, bowling pins, pretty much everything except for playing the game. Also, realize that I am wildly out of shape and have been hurting for the last 3 days. But the one thing that I am not hurting for this week is some trivia. So what do you say? Let's play. All right. As always, we publish 10 new games every week, and I take 15 questions from those 10 games and bring you a best of. This week, we've got all sorts of fun topics like Asian action films, the Halo franchise, WrestleMania, which is coming up on Sunday. So let's get going. Question 1. What was Bruce Lee's first and only Hollywood movie released 1 month after his death in 1973? Was it A, Fist of Fury, B, Enter the Dragon, C, The Big Boss, or D, The Game of Death? A, Fist of Fury, B, Enter the Dragon, C, The Big Boss, or D, The Game of Death? And the answer is B. Enter the Dragon was Bruce Lee's first and only Hollywood movie. I have never seen it. Don't tell anybody. Question 2, still from Asian action films. What was legendary Hong Kong action director John Woo's first American film? Was it A, Mission Impossible 2, B, Hard Target, C, Face Off, or D, Broken Arrow? A, Mission Impossible 2, B, Hard Target, C, Face Off, D, Broken Arrow. The answer, John Woo's first American film was B, Hard Target, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. All 4 of those movies are basically genius level. Question number 3. We have a Bodies of Water game this week. All about rivers, lakes, streams, what have you. Question 3. The band Deep Purple was inspired to write the song Smoke on the Water after a casino theater caught fire during a blank concert in 1971. Was it A, Jethro Tull, B, The Doors, C, Frank Zappa, or D, Pink Floyd? A, Jethro Tull, B, The Doors, C, Frank Zappa, or D, Pink Floyd? And the answer is Frank Zappa and the Mothers, I believe is how that song goes. The answer is C, Frank Zappa. He was playing at a casino in Montreux and the theater caught fire. And we get Smoke on the Water from that. Question 4. We've got Weird Laws 2. It's continuing in our series of weird and unusual laws from all over the world. Question 4. Which country's radio stations must play music from domestic artists at least 35% of the time or face fines? Is it A, Canada, B, USA, C, Mexico, or D, England? A, Canada, B, USA, C, Mexico, or D, England? And the answer is A, Canada. They have to play music from 35% of Canadian artists, or 35% of the time from Canadian artists. Gotta make sure that people don't forget that Canada's got some good musicians too. Question 5, still weird laws. Which European country's law on personal names requires new parents to pick a baby name from a list of pre-approved options? Is it A, France, B, Spain, C, Denmark, or D, Poland? A, France, B, Spain, C, Denmark, or D, Poland? The answer is C, Denmark. You have to pick a name from a list. But apparently you can petition for approval of common first names from other countries. So I don't know how many LeBrons there are going to be in Denmark in the coming years, but there might be quite a few. Question 6. We've got Cult Classics game this week. A lot of fun. Question 6. Which of these robots is not featured in the beloved television showcase for Cult Classics, Mystery Science Theater 3000? Is it A, Probot, B, Cambot, C, Tom Servo, or D, Crow T Robot? A, Probot, B, Cambot, C, Tom Servo, or D, Crow T Robot? The answer is A, Probot. Probot is not a robot on Mystery Science Theater. Probot is actually the name of one of Dave Grohl's many side projects. Pretty fantastic, if you ask me. Question 7, still from Cult Classics. Which food is not listed on the official audience participation prop list for screenings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Is it A, rice, B, cheese, C, toast, or D, hot dogs? A, rice, B, cheese, C, toast, or D, hot dogs? The answer is not on the prop list is B, cheese. You throw rice, you throw toast, you throw hot dogs, you throw all sorts of manner of things at the screen during Rocky Horror, but no cheese. Keep that cheese to yourself, please. Question 8 from our baking trivia game this week. What is the name for the ruffled, lace-like base of a traditional French macaron shell? Is it A, base, B, feet, C, floor, or D, foundation? A, base, B, feet, C, floor, or D, foundation? The answer is B, feet. And I'm sure in French it's probably a beautiful sounding word, and of course in the United States, in America, or in English, we decided to translate that to feet, the most appetizing of words. Question number 9. We've got a New York Times bestsellers game this week. These are questions featuring books that have been on the New York Times bestseller list. Question 9. With the publication of Hip Hop and Other Things in 2021, blank became the first Mexican-American author to have 4 books named to the New York Times bestsellers list. Is it A, Alfredo Vea, B, Shea Serrano, C, Angela Morales, or D, Jamie Hernandez? A, Alfredo Vea, B, Shea Serrano, C, Angela Morales, or D, Jamie Hernandez, or Jaime Hernandez, my apologies. The answer is B, Shea Serrano. He's had 4 books. He's got 3 books in the And Other Things series. There's basketball and movies, and now hip hop. And then he did one about rap earlier. They've all been on the New York Times bestseller list. They're all fantastic. I highly recommend all 4. Question number 10. We've got Legends of Music, the Rolling Stones this week. We have a lot of Legends of Music games, but we never had a Rolling Stones one before this. Question 10. Which blues legend recorded the song from which the Rolling Stones take their name? Was it A, Bo Diddley, B, Chuck Berry, C, Robert Johnson, or D, Muddy Waters? A, Bo Diddley, B, Chuck Berry, C, Robert Johnson, or D, Muddy Waters? The answer is D, Muddy Waters. The song is Rolling Stone. According to the legend, Brian Jones Saw the name on the back of the Muddy Waters LP, and the rest is history. Question 11. There's a new Halo TV show out recently, and so we've got a fun Halo franchise game all about the show and the series of Halo games. Question 11. What musician wrote and performed the guitar solo featured in the epilogue of Halo 2? Was it A, The Edge, B, Steve Vai, C, John Mayer, or D, Joe Satriani? A, The Edge, B, Steve Vai, C, John Mayer, or D, Joe Satriani? And the answer is, this guy pulls some incredible guitar face, if you know what I mean. The answer is C, John Mayer. He looks like he's in pain most of the time while he's playing. All right, question 12. Opening day is coming up, everybody, so we've got a fun game about ballparks. And not about baseball itself, but about the various ballparks found all around the United States. Question 12. What historic ballpark did not officially host a night game until 1988, more than 74 years after it opened? Was it A, Fenway Park, B, Tiger Stadium, C, Crosley Field, or D, Wrigley Field? A, Fenway Park, B, Tiger Stadium, C, Crosley Field, or D, Wrigley Field? The answer is D, Wrigley Field. They did not host a night game until 1988. There weren't even any lights installed until 1988 because it's right in the middle of a neighborhood and the residents did not want those lights. Question 13, still from At the Ballpark. What is the term for the darkly painted or decorated area beyond the center field wall of a baseball stadium? Is it A, black hole, B, batter's eye, C, blackout bleachers, or D, boneyard? A, black hole, B, batter's eye, C, blackout bleachers, or D, boneyard? The answer for the darkly painted area behind center field is B, batter's eye. That's so that a batter can see the baseball, which is, being whipped at them 100 miles an hour, something that you might want to see. So they give a little advantage to the batter in that case. Question 14. Coming up this Sunday, brother, is WrestleMania. So we've got a fun WrestleMania game this week. Question 14. Where was the first WrestleMania held in March 1985? Was it A, the LA Coliseum, B, Madison Square Garden, C, the Louisiana Superdome, or D, the Astrodome? A, LA Coliseum, B, Madison Square Garden, C, Louisiana Superdome, or D, the Astrodome? The answer, the first WrestleMania was held at B, Madison Square Garden in New York City in 1985. And at the time, it was the largest pay-per-view sporting event in history. I feel like that might have been overtaken at some point between now and then. But who knows? Question 15, again from WrestleMania. What singer acted as manager for Wendy Richter in her bout versus the Fabulous Moolah in the Brawl to End It All, broadcast live on MTV in 1984? Was it A, Belinda Carlisle, B, Pat Benatar, C, Joan Jett, or D, Cyndi Lauper? A, Belinda Carlisle, B, Pat Benatar, C, Joan Jett, or D, Cyndi Lauper? The answer, if you knew the answer to this, you're showing your true colors as a WrestleMania fan, because the answer is D, Cyndi Lauper. She was managing for Wendy Richter, and her friend Captain Lou Albano was the manager for the Fabulous Moolah, back when wrestling and rock and roll had quite a bit of crossover. So, those are our 15 questions for this week. And oh, wait, be careful. Don't slap me. I've got a bonus question. The bonus question this week is coming to you from our Legends of Sports Charles Barkley game. Sir Charles, the round mound of rebound, whatever you want to call him. So our bonus question this week. For which NBA team did Charles Barkley play his final professional season of basketball? Was it A, Houston Rockets, B, the Los Angeles Lakers, C, New York Knicks, or D, Sacramento Kings? A, Houston Rockets, B, Los Angeles Lakers, C, New York Knicks, or D, Sacramento Kings? The answer is A, the Houston Rockets. Barkley played one season after playing in Philadelphia and Phoenix for the first 15 years of his career. He was also on that team that he was on in Houston was with Akeem Olajuwon, who was drafted the same year that Barkley was. If you are interested in those types of facts. Well, that's it for our game this week. A big thanks to my producer, Ross. I would like to say rate, review, subscribe, find our podcast wherever you can. Come back every week. Check out the Weekly Trivia Show. Check out Crowdpurr, which is the #1 web platform for hosting trivia. And we will see you next week. Have a good week.